Hi, it's Michael from Better Marks in Maths, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to subtract numbers using the borrowing method. So in example 1, and when you're subtracting, it's always top number minus bottom number, and again you work from right to left. So even though the top number is smaller than the bottom number, and some students just look for the bigger number and go 8 minus 3 is 5, but it's always the top numbers minus the bottom numbers. So 3 minus 8, you can't do it, and you can actually figure it out and get a negative number for an answer, but you don't want to do it that way when you're subtracting numbers like this. So basically, if this number is smaller than that number, you can't do it. So 3 minus 8, you can't do it. So you have to borrow 1 from the 9. And when you borrow 1 from that, it becomes an 8. And then you put the one that you borrowed in front of the number like that. And so there's always, you borrow 1 and then you put it in front of the next number on its right. That's always how you do it, no matter what columns you're working in. And now this is 13 minus 8, which is 5. So put the 5 in that same column. And then now it's 8 minus 3, which is 5. And so the answer to that is 55. And example 2, 9 minus 3 is equal to 6. 4 minus 5 you can't do, so you have to borrow 1 from the 5. So that becomes a 4. Put the one that you borrowed in front of the 4, and it's now 14 minus 5, which is 9. And then 4 minus 2 is 2. So the answer to 549 minus 253 is 296. Example 3, 0 minus 1, you can't do it, so you have to borrow 1 from the 6. That becomes a 5, and put the 1 there, and now it's 10 minus 1, which is 9. And now it's 5 minus 7, you can't do it, so you have to borrow 1 from that 7. It becomes a 6. Put the 1 in front of that 5, and now it's 15. 15 minus 7 is 8, and then 6 minus 1 is 5. So 760 minus 171 is 589. Last example, 5,000 minus 1,234. So 0 minus 4 you can't do. So, and there's nothing here to borrow. So, and there's nothing here to borrow to put here. So you have to go all the way to this 5 and borrow from that. So when you borrow 1 from that 5, it becomes a 4. And that 1 that you have to put in front of the 0 actually goes in front of this 0 here, because this 5 is really 5,000s, and when you borrow 1 from that 5, you're really borrowing 1,000. And when you put that 1 here, it now looks like the number 1,000. Some students put that 1 all the way down here, and then they just borrow another one from that 5 and put it here, and then they borrow another one and put it there. It's definitely not the way to do it. And so when you borrow 1 from a column, that 1 that you're borrowing, it always has the same value, even when you put it in front of the next number. So that 1 is definitely a 1 worth 1,000. And when you put it there in front of those 3 zeros, it looks like the number 1,000, those 4 numbers, the 1 and the 3 zeros. And so that's the correct way of doing it. And then what you do is you go, you still have to borrow to put something here, so you can borrow to put something here. So you borrow 1 from that 10, and you've got 9 left. Put the one that you borrowed here, borrow 1 from that, and you're left with 9, and then you put the 1 here. And so that's how you do the borrowing when you've got a whole stack of zeros like that. And so now working from left to right, 10 minus 4 is 6, 9 minus 3 is 6, 9 minus 2 is 7, and then 4 minus 1 is 3. And that's how you do the borrowing method. There was another thing I was going to say. For those of you who are a little bit more interested in maths, what you can do to check your answer, all you have to do, and I'll just do a simple example. So if you have 6 minus 2, the answer to that is 4. And if you go 4 plus 2, you get this number up here. So if you've done the sum correctly, when you add your answer to the number that's just above it, it should equal the top number. So 5 plus 8 is 13. So put down the 3, carry the 1, and then that 1 plus that 5 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. And so you end up with 93, the top number. So that means this 55 is the right answer. And you can do that with all of these. 6 and 3 is 9, 9 and 5 is 14, so there's the 4, and carry that 1 into the next column. Then 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5, so that's the right number. And you can do the same thing with these and check yourself. So that's how you do the borrowing method when you're subtracting whole numbers. And the key things are that if you copy the numbers down onto a page, you've got to line up your numbers. So the 0 and the 4 are in the units column. So you must make sure the 4 is under the 0 when you write it down. And if you've got a 4-digit number and a 4-digit number like this, you've got to make sure they line up properly and then put your answers in those same columns as you work them out. That's a key thing to do when adding and subtracting numbers. And it's one of the reasons why students make mistakes, is because they don't line things up correctly. So that's a really important thing to make sure you do. So that's about it for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.